Oh, so in your opinion, do you believe that cities of America are the forgotten mission field of the American church?
Yes, we have sort of let them go, or more than let them go. The 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 the, the sixties and homogeneous theology affirmed that it was okay for white folks to leave and middle class and upper class people to leave the city and leave it to the poor. And they left their churches and congregations and moved out and forgot about that and developed their homogeneous churches out in the neighborhood. Black people kept coming, but you then had the storefronts in many of those and some significant churches, but then they eventually themselves, the more middle class black, began to move out too. And with immigration out there, then that left the weaker people and the gangs and the churches that was there was very weak. Now this is not 100%, this is percent. And so those churches went then for mission out of the 60s and 70s, went mission overseas. And then I think then there began with our book and Ron Sider's book and others, Ron Sider's book, Rich Christian, The Age of Hunger, and my book, Let Justice Roll Down, really began to again raise the question of the question about the urban communities, and there was other folks doing it too. And then I think that my book, Let Justice Roll Down, gave us a little philosophy to do that, that we could relocate back into the community. Originally, it was trying to get the blacks who would get educated. They too would go suburbia, or move out to somewhere else. So I wanted them to come back and provide some leadership and stability and economic viability within those communities. Otherwise, the new Asians would come and the new people from others. I'm not anti that at all. I'm for all of us working together. But the blacks did not have those businesses. They had some in the older days in a small section of town, but they were all destroyed. Quick exodus of both the middle class, the white, and the middle class black. And so it was an opportunity for this new generation to come back to the urban. And I think the three R's of development: relocation, reconciliation, and redistribution. Now, that was fresh. It was fresh. Number one, coming back, success is to get out of the ghetto. For everybody, that's the solution was to the ghetto, and they're going to end up turning down the ghetto, of the city and rebuilding them. And so the church didn't see much involvement in that in the society. And so, but it began to come back. Islands of hope began to come back into those communities. So relocation and then reconciliation. Well, we got to push in that with the 10 or 12 years of Promise Keeper, and people begin to see it. White folk was hugging on the stage, talking good things together and drinking coffee together, but not much really empowerment of the black indigenous leaders or the indigenous leaders, even those who relocated, who was white. It began to trickle down some. So there was an awakening to that. And now in some areas, in where you have a strong suburban church like Willow Creek, or probably like San Diego and some of these places. And almost when I go out, most of where there's good black development, there was always some nearby suburban church, some pastor, some white church pastor saw a vision and had some need for that, and they began to provide some resources into the urban communities. But the big mission groups were still gathering money for overseas. and I'm not putting that down. But what we're talking about now is the neglect of the urban community. And so there haven't been a real push in bringing the resources to bear in the urban community. And then even some people are writing books now that's pretty popular. It says when our method of helping the poor and the minorities created dependence and in those people and reinforced our own idea of being victims, and we begin to then wait for those white folks and those middle class churches to come in and do for us a lot of the things that we need to do for ourselves. So in that sense, the urban community has been somewhat neglected. Of course, the rescue mission has always been there, but that was always to get those very fragile people, and they became more fragile people, and more of the idea then the line got longer, and that we created an environment for the homeless there. It wasn't redemption anymore, and that's what I'm afraid of. That even though we are working there, we are not doing much redemption. AA tried it, and they have been doing it. They give the fellowship for those people, but they sort of give up somewhat on redemption. They took it day by day. That might be okay, but we didn't see the kind of turnaround that you saw in the olden days of the rescue mission, for white or others. Most of it was white back in those days. Those tycoons overcame their addiction, either got involved in the rescue mission or they went into business and had a great relationship to business, and they become the supporters of those rescue missions. But that kind of redemption is not as viable today because we have created an environment in those eras, and that we now have to manage those victims day by day in the community. And because it became so much, the government has got involved in it. Now the military people are coming out, damn it, they will find them ways to serve the community. And the idea would be to sustain those people there in the urban community instead of talking about how do we really bring the church see this as a viable mission field that needs to be really dealt with in a unified way as the churches in those cities come together. And where a few of those churches do come together like that, they are having some impact.
Yes, absolutely. So it sounds like some progress is being made. I know a lot of people your CCDA does a great job of calling people to that type of ministry, but what are, other than, I know we touched on one roadblock is missions groups raising a lot of money for overseas. What are some of the other roadblocks for Christians seeing the inner city as a mission field and somewhere that they could potentially fulfill their calling as ministers?
I think what I think we got to do is create even more opportunities, and even those ministers that are in that community is not strong enough themselves to work with those mission groups that come in for a day and a night, and so they don't really care about them, and we're not training them to actually see. Most of this time they are there. Much of this time ought to be educational time for those people, and let them know that they are not accomplishing very much in terms of their work, but what they're actually doing is learning and developing passion, and that we then the urban groups there need to be supported by those suburban churches in order to provide this education for them, so they should see this education as valuable for their people. And so like the rescue Commission, let's say, should have a place in them to train these suburbia people, both for their support and for their making this a part of their education or psyche. You understand?
Right.
And also in a way that that their help has got to bring about stability and creative empowerment of the indigenous people around those ghettos and that their people live. And you know,
right.
And so even the Red Commission haven't done enough in empowering and bringing their skills to bear on those organizations and churches that are trapped in those ghettos too. You know, so that these good ministries, those good ministries ought to become both educational ministries and providing whatever that spiritual stability and guidance that those people who are recovering need. And so the idea now is how do we make that economically viable? And that's because you can't charge them enough and then educate them. You get the idea? People got to see that as a vision. They don't quite see that now. In doing that. And there are a few, I think, like Willow Creek and some of those others did some of that. And I did some of that with Willow Creek, taking them on civil rights tours and exposing them to the deep damage that many years of racism had done to both the black and the white. You understand?
Right.
So it's really that discipleship piece. That discipleship piece is missing, where we disciple those suburban people and also disciple those urban people who have become victims. And those urban people is not understood the depth of the damage that 250 years of enslavement did to them. And they're not strong enough then to provide the economic stability and some of the services there. The new migrants that come from other parts of the country see the ghetto as a great place of economic development. And it almost leads to almost exploitation, why it provides some essential services that the people need.
Wow.
And so the Arabs and the other ones who come in, again, I'm not anti that. I'm saying, but the people who live there have got to provide some good services. And the charitable stuff is not quite adequate enough. And those people are saying, where our charity hurt those people, we haven't taken that serious enough and offered an alternative to the way we do charity. And what I'm saying here is these institutions should be the educational institution and have some place for it. Have some place for it within the community. I think this is, and then a place for trying to raise up vibrant, smaller congregations. And again, these vibrant congregations need to be supported by as a overall mission group. We need mission both here and there. It's not now removing the support for Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria. It went to the uttermost part and it left these places here. And I'm saying that we need to come up with discipleship principles that educates us all, where we can understand that the poor need to work, poor need to be involved. Work affirms the dignity of the being, that they have value and worth. Charity can undermine that dignity.
That's good. That's really good. And you touched on racism issue, and that was actually a good segue into my next question. We recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, and I wanted to get your thoughts on if his dream has been realized, and why or why not?
No, we missed a little of it. We missed the content of the character, and that was the absoluteness of his speech. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And profiling is worse now. We've just discovered, profiling in life, and which is said, our address and our behavior, and if we do move our pants down beyond our hips, that's a character deal in our society. We both blacks and white both misses that. We missed that, and so we thought it was just economic and a sort of education that allowed for outward migration. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But not stabilizing the neighborhood, and it became then more individualistic uplift. And of course, over individualizing people get them addicted, and the problem becomes worse.
Right.
You know, in our society,
yeah.
and when people are addicted to it, and our society is moving more towards making us addicted. Nikes, why do we need Nikes? Why do we need to pay? They have brand our mind. And Starbucks, great coffee. I like Starbucks better than I do some of the others because they are a little bit Robin Hood. But the idea is here, it is the taste of the Starbucks. It is the people singing with the cup in their hand. All of this is a part of that addicted. So boy, we have failed in the character formation. We have failed in being the change we want to see as God's people. Now, that is the reality of the now, and what we're trying to get to that at is holistic development. Our gospel is whole. There is leakage in the gospel. There are great principles we're removing. Like we have removed fornication out of discussion in our society because the sex people are winning. You understand?
Yeah.
So we're removing fornication. We done went past that, and we went to abortion. We went to those kind of things.
Right.
And we magnified them. But we didn't say that was this fornication? Is this okay? And so in the urban communities, my community, 72% of the children are being born out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? And there is no challenge from the community. It's moving on more and more to you marry who you want to marry. Nobody has nothing to say about that. If a boy marry a boy, that's okay. If a girl marry a girl, that's okay. That constitutes some kind of a family. That is not the male and female family. Now, to say that, you become a homophobic.
Right.
You get that. And so we have, and the people, the black folks are Democrats, and the white folks in suburbia is Tea Party and conservative.
Yeah.
And so you got a flash there, in our so the church should totally give itself all together to enter that. I don't know whether we need to be Christian at all. We need to be more redemptive in this. And I think that's what the young generation is trying to say about the incarnation. We're going to hear more now about the incarnation. That could be the solution to our problem, but I think we got to have a process that deal with the stewardship of the resources. And that's where we have made justice a legal issue, but we haven't made justice a stewardship issue. And the biblical justice is a stewardship issue.
That's good. That's really good. Excellent. And then in terms of your legacy, and if there's one thing that you would want this next generation to really grab a hold of? I know we touched on it a little bit in terms of living incarnationally and living out the gospel. But what would that be that if you could pass on one thing to the next generation of Christian leaders?
I think it's the fullness of the gospel message and seeing the gospel as a central message. And it's the central message that we're trying to get out every time we preach. I want to hope I can leave the idea of the integration of evangelism and discipleship. Bring it back close together. You understand?
Yeah.
And not ended up a sort of a dualistic deal.
Right.
But it's right, it's wrong. Well, there's another dimension. There is truth. And that's what justice should be looking for, too, is truth. Because my right become my right, my wrong become my wrong. Well, there's a truth in between there. We've sort of left that out of our society. So I would like to be, they almost said it in this new book that these young scholars have put out, mobilizing for the common good. That there is a common good that overshadows the political parties. There need to be some form of health care for everybody. I don't know exactly how we deliver that. You understand?
Right.
And so just to come down absolutely negative on Obamacare is not the solution to the problem.
That's good.
Because we got to deal with that 40 million. That's what we start with it, that didn't have health care.
That's
you get
right.
that deal. And the Tea Party don't have no solution for that.
Yeah.
You get that deal?
I do.
Society. When I go to Canada, the Canadian life therapy, it's only the Americans down here talk about it. When I go to England, they sort of like their Medicare. And when I go to Israel, they sort of like their Medicare. I like it too. When I got sick there, they took care of me very good. I've done the same thing in other places. But we is so rigid. It's individualistic capitalism. I love capitalism as a productive scene. I don't love capitalism as a distribution deal. It makes the rich too richer. You know.
Yeah.
And it's okay for the rich to own the means of production if they want to distribute those goods and those production back into those neighborhoods and communities. Now there's some attempt to do that. There's always some attempt to do that. As I read Foundation Journal, they usually would like for the money to go back in the community from which they get their products and from which they sell their resources, sell their goods to. So there's some of that. I think we got to look at that. So capitalism don't have that altogether. Socialism don't have that altogether. I think the Christian church ought to be that prophetic voice that could speak to that.
That's excellent.
And so my legacy is sort of a legacy of ideas, but ideas must be modeled in terms of the community, in terms of the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be sort of a holistic Christian community development would sort of be my legacy.
That's good. And lastly, which we kind of are leading into this question too, so it works out good. Describe for me a city reached with the love of Jesus. What do the schools, churches, government look like? And after you do that, I wanted to get your thoughts on if it's possible this side of heaven to experience that.
I can do that. Now I think that we will be in the world and we'll be shining as lights in the world. There is not a plain vision that we will produce the millennium and that ideal world here on earth. but I think we can be models to reflect the kingdom of God within those neighborhoods. I have sold to that, and then we can be a witness, and we can be something that people can observe and join with and become a part of what it is we are doing in the neighborhood, in the community. I have found then when those enough churches in suburbia and in the urban community get together and form some type of a listening, some kind of a fellowship, not fundraising group, I have found that that's where you'll find the models. You'll find the models somewhat in places like Chicago, the headquarters for. You'll find them in Fresno, California. You will find some in LA, and you'll find them in cities, but you will find those models, and you will find them where the suburban churches take on some form of support to those urban struggling community. But we will not reproduce the kingdom of God. We are not winning in the ideology and in the philosophy and in the political battle. The negatives are winning. They are closing our mouths. They are winning. The family is being further weakened by the sex revolution within our society. Yeah. And in the end, the return of Christ looked like it might be. This is not profound. And they will call that person or that philosophy a whore. And that everybody have had intercourse with her. And so that we are all having intercourse with this negative sex revolution. It's stronger than what we got on the field. We don't have anything on the field that is equal to that. I think what we can have on the field is light. And I think Paul's admonition to the Philippians that we have to shine as light in the midst of this crooked and perverted world. The hope is the blessed hope. The hope is blessed hope. And I think that blessed hope has got to give some urgent to us. That's what the blessed hope, because it's uncertain, unknown when he's returning. So that should give us a sense of urgency. And it will be the effect of that urgency will be the quality of life we live. How effective we see that urgency. Some people are feeling that. I think Gates, Buffin, and some of those people, even without a strong biblical, they're looking at the moral decay, and they're saying we need to invest more of our resources in changing this society.
That's good. That's really good. Well, Dr. Perkins, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. This has been true. Yes. Absolutely.